Hello.
Oh,
You're quieter.
you're louder.
Oh God.
This is no way to start a podcast.
This isn't a podcast. This is a review. This is even worse than. It's a discussion, actually.
All right, this counts towards your time.
No, it doesn't. This is a introductory thing. So, this is our spoilers review of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And we're gonna spoil it. And, well, we're not gonna try to spoil it.
But we'll end up spoiling it.
We're just gonna discuss openly. We're not gonna care about accidentally spoiling things. So, yeah. How it's gonna work is 5 minutes with me, then 5 minutes with my dad, and then we're just gonna discuss for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll end it. Preface, though.
You gotta just leave that all be, like, magic, so that, it seems like we're just doing this and not give them time limits and stuff.
I can edit you out, though. Preface, though.
Edit this.
Preface, though, this is not a typical review style. It's just I didn't review Dawn of the Planet of the Apes the weekend it came out. How it's usually going to work is there will be like a 5-minute review the weekend of the movie, and then 2 weeks later there will be a spoiler review. And that's what's going to maybe happen with Guardians of the Galaxy if we go see it.
We're going to see it.
Well, this weekend, I mean.
Oh.
Alright, so, you have anything to say for another 15 seconds so then I can make it easier on me?
I can't really think of anything for 15 seconds. There.
Go. So, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it is a really good film. There is drama that is really good. There is action that is really good. There are lots of very human things happening with characters that aren't human. And I don't really agree with everyone who's saying that the human part of the story is not as good as the ape part of the story. I think the human part of the story did its job, and it was there for what it was there for. This movie was brilliantly directed, to me, anyway. The way it was shot and everything. It had a nice look to it. And watching this, you would not believe that the director had directed Cloverfield, because Cloverfield is nowhere near as smooth as this. I'm having a rough time talking for 5 minutes because I just said everything. So Andy Serkis was awesome in the movie. I forget who plays Koba. I'm going to look on Wikipedia. I want to say it was Toby Kebbell.
His name's really close to the name of the monkey he's playing.
Yeah, Toby Kebbell. And hey, this is my 5 minutes.
You were
Shut up.
Faltering.
So Toby Kebbell was, to me, a big scene stealer. He was almost better than Caesar, if not equal, when it comes to acting. The CGI in it was photorealistic at times. There were points in the movie where the action was really dark to me. I mean, I wouldn't bring a 4-year-old to see this movie, but I would bring a 9 or 10-year-old to see the movie if they can handle burning ape bodies running around kind of screaming. I paid attention to details. There was this really good shot where Koba jumps into a tank, kills everyone inside the tank, rips them out and stuff, and then starts firing from the tank gunner, and all of it is filmed on top of the tank while it's spinning, and it doesn't stop spinning until the end of that scene. And that was a really good scene to me. That is the standout scene when it comes to just cinematography. But acting, the entire film was just a good acting scene. Um, I can't think of anything else because everything else kind of leans towards more a discussion than points of like what was good about it. The CGI was photorealistic. There was one scene where I thought they had to have had an animatronic to look that good. There was every ape character was interesting, even if they weren't in it enough. Maurice was interesting. Rocket was a step up from how he was last time in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He wasn't in it. He was in it more than he was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but otherwise it was he was barely in it, but he was still kind of interesting. Blue Eyes, who is Caesar's son, was interesting. All the human characters were pretty interesting, and there was not like a human character that was evil for being evil. There wasn't a ape character that was evil just to be evil. Evil. I can't say evil. And it was all just really good. And I need 40 more seconds. For me, it's the best movie of the year so far. I would say 10 out of 10 just because I cannot think of a single thing that was wrong in this movie, a single thing that I had a problem with, and the more I think about it, the better it gets, and so I'm so close to being able to be free. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Again, I just can't think of anything wrong with the film. There's a few funny little things like Cornelia not knowing.
Okay,
anything.
your time's done. I would have helped you out there, but you yelled at me the last time I said something. Podcast Nazi. Okay. Yeah, I agree with everything he said. And I'm getting the look that I gotta say more.
5 minutes of things. This is how it works. It's exclusively you. 5 minutes exclusively.
You are
5
stepping
minutes.
on my time.
You're doing this on purpose.
Okay, so yeah, from the very opening, you've got it's the apes' story, and that's why they're in it so much. That's why the story revolves around them. It's why their actions really move the story forward. So the complaints that the human story is not big enough, well, it's not their story. They're sort of a catalyst in the ape story.
Stop talking like this is a discussion. This is your review. The other 5 minutes was my review. Okay. Seriously, I did not do this to you. Oh my God! But you know, his podcast, he sets the rules. Whatever. Okay. Can I go on? Okay. He nodded, and he's looking very sorry for what he's done. So from the very opening, you've got Rocket's son and Caesar's son, and they have the first interaction with humans. Their generation has not had any contact with humans as their parents did. So they've only heard secondhand what they know about it. They know that they're probably dangerous, and there's different opinions of humans among the apes because of their different experiences. So you can imagine a ape like Koba, and you'll have to imagine if you haven't seen the movie. But if you've seen the movie, you know. An ape like Koba had very bad experiences with humans, and Caesar was actually was able to form a caring relationship with a human and doesn't have the same issues. So when they all sort of come together and there's an altercation that sets off the events to follow, there's two different camps that form. There's Caesar, who knows that they're flawed and are capable of being kind but might not always be, and still sees them as not as good as apes, but certainly not as cruel and evil as Koba sees them. So the differing opinions
sort of lead to two different camps, and it leads to betrayal, and it leads to there's a whole bunch of sort of Shakespearean tragedy that happens throughout this with betrayal and lies and just the way of bringing down a kingdom and
whenever you move it, it causes noise. Please don't.
Oh, okay. I gotta stop moving the microphone because I'm causing technical problems. I'll stop doing that.
Look at the waveform now.
Oh, the waveform is all messed up. So that's the crux of where the action begins. And the technical aspects of the movie, it's I'm not going to say a darker movie. It's a grittier movie. The world is much more tangible. The homestead that the apes build is it's a really interesting visual. And it's not like in the old movies where it was human houses built by apes and wearing people clothes. These are apes living as smart apes might, and building their own little civilization. And
he's stalling because he knows he has 30 seconds left.
There you go, stepping on me again, all over me. Okay, so this is going to lead into the discussion part. The special effects and everything were fantastic. The apes were very realistic looking. They're unlike the first movie. It was like huge steps ahead from the first movie, where sometimes Caesar appeared to be CGI, and in this you get a lot of up close acting with the apes, and they look fantastic. So you're in a very believable world with very believable actions, and the characters really push the story ahead.
What would you rate it?
Oh, A+.
But
what? How do we do our ratings?
10s.
10s. Okay.
Something out of 10.
Yeah, 10.
All right. Now I can lean in because it is now both of our discussion. So you thought it was 10 out of 10. I thought it was 10 out of 10.
This is going to be a short discussion.
Well, we can discuss spoiler because neither of us really went into spoilers. You almost did, and I was like, come on, go into spoilers, and you didn't. You were saving it for the discussion part.
No,
but
I wasn't going to give it away because we said maybe spoilers, maybe not.
There was no maybe. This has been 2 weeks after the movie had come out. It's spoiler time.
Okay, we welcome your letters.
No one cares. It's been 2 weeks. No one cares. If they get it spoiled, it's their fault. So you were wrong about where it started. That's what that cringing
It started in the
face,
woods.
But it didn't start with Ash, which is Rocket's son, and Blue Eyes,
well,
which
no,
is
that's
Caesar's
not
son.
the first. You get the hunting scene. That's how it starts.
Which, the hunting scene was amazing. Like, it was one of the best openings to a film.
But that's more of an establishment. It doesn't really... that's not what starts kicking the story for. It's your introduction into their society and how they operate and all that.
But as an opening to a film, that is one of the best openings I've ever seen to a film. You get introduced to the main 8 players, which is Caesar's son, Caesar, and Koba. You have the first, like, sign of them being super intelligent. Their hands, they're
giving hand signals,
hands,
nonverbal
not hand signals, sign language to each other. They're you can tell that Caesar is not necessarily protective of his son, but he looks out for him, and it establishes the first. Like, I was thinking that there wasn't going to be, like, Koba wasn't going to be as close to Caesar as I thought he was going to be, and this further, like, kind of hurts. You hurt whenever you see Koba just go into his dark place and betray Caesar and stuff, because he saves the life of Caesar and his son from a grizzly bear. So obviously bears aren't affected by this simian flu, which that would have been kind of cool. Smart, intelligent bears. That would have been awesome. Though that would have been a really nice nod well, not necessarily nice, but if they had said that the simian flu had wiped out all the cats and dogs, like in the original franchise, how there was the sickness that killed all the
So that's why
pets.
they made the apes the pets?
Yeah, that would have been a nice nod. But in terms of nods, there's nothing in this film that is a nod to the earlier films, except for one little throwaway thing, which is the apes have started building scarecrows, basically, and they look pretty close to the original scarecrows. And this is mostly me discussing. You chime in a bit.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, he looked at me whenever I was talking about how they were burning apes and stuff. Do you have anything to say about that? Did you not notice them?
Well, it was a battle, but I mean,
yeah, I know. I'm saying that this wasn't like a movie battle where it was like, over the top or anything, or where it was like.
Well, it was. You've got an army of apes attacking here. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It's over the top, but it's within the context. You want me to speak? Let me speak. Within the context of that story, it's very plausible. But to just throw out there flaming apes, that sort of gives the wrong impression of what people are going to see.
Well, what I'm saying is that the way that the action was shot, it was more like a war movie than you would expect in an action movie. Like, in an action movie, you would expect, like, explosion, and all the apes would be, like, dead and stuff. You wouldn't see the bodies. You would see, like, apes getting shot, and then you wouldn't see the bodies. This is, like, a war movie where you see the apes' bodies lying around. You see human bodies lying around. Whenever an explosion happens, it isn't necessarily over the top or anything, because they're mostly gas canister explosions. So, like, it just sets fire to all the apes, and they're, like, running about like they're on fire. Like they're on fire. So I got a very like war kind of feeling from it, like a war movie feeling from it instead of an action movie feeling from it. Like, there are specific shots where you are like, oh, that was awesome, but whenever you're actually watching the action happen where someone's being killed or something, you're not like happy or excited like you are in an action movie.
You've got action with consequences, which you see more in the war movies than you do in action movies.
Like, with
action movies can be bloodless and bodiless and
like
violent.
I'm trying to think of a movie that I've seen recently or that came out recently. I can't really think of one though. But like, a Rambo movie wouldn't be this sentimental.
It
on
would be
throwaway
over the top.
apes.
Yeah, it would be over the top with overwhelming force from one man against many. And your army movies, everybody's getting hit. There's chaos and violence and consequences to all of it.
This one did not have a main ape die in a battle, aside from Koba.
Spoiler!
This is a spoiler discussion.
Just to remind everybody.
We gotta wrap this up in about 2 minutes. I'm gonna try to keep it under 20. Or at 20. But, like, in the first film, you have the gorilla. The main gorilla, I don't remember his name. But he dies. And it's kind of like a, man, I feel something for this ape. And you're, like, not expecting that. In this movie, you're like, man, the apes are, I want to be an ape.
Well, congratulations.
I'd rather be an ape in this side of the movie than the other. But like, there wasn't any, like, Maurice didn't die. No one dies except for Koba, and I like the way he died. Again, 10 out of 10 because we're wrapping this up soon. But I'm calling it now. The next movie will be called War of the Planet of the Apes, just because of the way this film ended with Caesar saying, "War has already begun." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
things gonna happen.
Ape started it. Man will not forgive.
And it wasn't like this was like more of a cliffhanger ending than Rise was. Rise was like, all right, this movie could have just stood on its own. Whenever this one ends, you're like, all right, the sequel is going to be a direct sequel. It's going to pick up maybe like a couple days afterward or something.
Probably a little further down the line than that.
A little further, but they said the military is coming, so I'm just assuming the military is probably going to come within a couple weeks, days. So you're going to pick up during that war. Other people are saying it's going to be called Fall of the Planet of the Apes, but I don't see them ending the franchise anytime soon.
Right, because you haven't really had them as dominant
Yeah.
yet. You know, humans have not been made slaves or anything like that. So it's not yet Planet of the Apes.
What I'm thinking is going to happen is it's going to be War of the Planet of the Apes, then it's just going to be Planet of the Apes, and then if they do one that is about humans rising up and taking the power back, it will be called Fall of the Planet of the Apes. But I think they're just going to end it with Planet of the Apes. And with that, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Go see the movie. If I do a top 10 movies of the year, this will probably be number 1 because I can't think of anything else that's going to end up being better than this. Unless Ninja Turtles surprises me, Guardians of the Galaxy surprises me, or The Hobbit surprises me, or Mockingjay. Catching Fire really surprised me whenever it came out, how good it was.
Good thing Selena Gomez doesn't have anything coming out this year.
I can edit
That's a
that
joke,
out.
bub.
All right, bye.